Cheevo, guys!
What up, guys? This is
Cheevo, guys!
back here again with another video. Today, I got some beta gameplay for you guys from an Xbox exclusive, Drake Hollow. This game will be releasing on Xbox and Windows 10 on July 17th. It will also be a day one addition to Game Pass when it launches. I think they also just recently had announced that there will be a Steam version as well. Now, being that this is going to be an Xbox and Windows exclusive, I definitely wanted to get a chance to check this out, and luckily I was able to get into the closed beta. Not only that, but I touched base with the developers, and they did give me permission to upload footage of the closed beta. And that's pretty big considering there isn't a lot of gameplay footage for this game on YouTube yet. Now, Drake Hollow is a cooperative action village building game set in the Hollow. In this game, players will build and defend villages of drakes. So the drakes are the local vegetable people. Either you're going to be playing this game solo or with a friend. Players follow the guidance of a mysterious crow in an effort to explore a dynamically generated world of islands trapped in poisonous ether, not too sure how to pronounce it. I'm just going to refer to it as ether. But basically what we have to do is recruit drakes, build up a camp, upgrade our camp as we're playing. We have to continuously defend it, continuously recruit drakes, and destroy the enemies. Now that I got my character created, we can go ahead and start up the game and see what it's about exactly. So I'm going to go ahead and start up a new game. As you can see, you can play with up to 5 players. However, I'm just going to be playing by myself. Let's see. It says, this is a drake. They get bored and hungry and thirsty, but you can help. Build things to lend a hand. Poppets, beds, yoga balls, hot tubs, gardens, and more. Okay, so it looks like we have to entertain them, feed them, and make sure that they have something to drink as well. This is explore and find supplies and drakes. Be careful of the ether. Okay, so first things first, looks like I found a hatchet. It says press up on the D-pad to select your melee weapon. And from what I understand, you can chop at stuff to collect the resources. So, similar to Minecraft, I guess, we will be needing to mine a couple resources in effort to be able to build things. I'll be diving into that in a bit. But for now, we have to get across this poisonous water, lake, whatever you want to call it. So it looks like you can use RB to use what they call an ether ward, which gives you some protection so that you can walk through this poisonous lake or ocean, whatever you want to call it. So here's the wise crow that I mentioned before. This is the crow that's going to be directing us through the game. It says, hey there, looks like you made it across the ether. Not bad. Welcome to the Hollow. I, Wise Crow, am at your service, and you, in turn, have been brought here to help the drakes. Let's meet one. See that wobbly leaf with the purple magic rising out of it? Go over there and yank it up. Okay, so looks like we're going to be finding our first drake. The drakes, once again, are the vegetable people in the game. These are the people that we're going to be recruiting and protecting. And then I think maybe even upgrading. Aw, how cute. They gave it the puppy dog eyes. These characters are pretty original. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this. And it looks like they also give you buffs. So I just obtained my first buff from this drake. The buff it gave me is an extra chance to get an extra item when crafting. And it looks like this drake's name is Piper. So as you find these drakes, they will have their own names. They'll have their own age. Each drake will also have a certain energy crystal it will work with. You could also see the health of your drake. And then again, you need to keep an eye on the hunger, the thirst, and the boredom of each of these drakes. Over time, they also will collect charms, so you want to touch base with your drakes here and there to make sure that you're collecting those charms. I believe they also restore your health. Okay, next it's going to show us a second way to get over the ether, the poisonous river or lake. Now, what we could do is we can get these towers with the crystal at top, and what we need to do is line them up with another crystal across the poisonous lake, and we can create a pathway of protection from island to island in effort to walk across. So you want to walk up and press X to interact with one of these aether waypoints. All you got to do is find the one on the other side of the poisonous lake, and we can line them up. And then what that's going to do is it's going to create a connection, and we can jump up and pretty much grind on these aether waypoints all the way to the next island. Now, the new island that I just traveled to looks like it's going to be the place where I'm going to set up my camp. So first things first, it looks like you can press Y to open up the build menu, and the game is instructing me to craft a cleansing cauldron, which I need 5 lumber for, as well as 2 glowstone shards. Luckily, I have collected both of those resources already, so it looks like I am ready to craft this cleansing cauldron. Okay, so it looks like the cauldron is where you can stock food to feed all of the drakes. So as you collect food resources, you can add them to the cauldron, and that's going to make sure that your drakes are fed. And then this tree stump right here with all of the items, it looks like that is where we are able to store all of our extra resources that aren't food. Now, as I mentioned before, you can interact with your drakes, and they will give you charms. They collect charms while you're playing, so you want to make sure that you talk to your drakes every once in a while to collect the charms that they have collected. Next, it looks like I found my second drake. Again, you can find them. There's just a leaf pointing out of the ground, kind of with a glow to it. You can go pull them out of the ground and you'll find a drake. This one has a different buff it's offering me. This buff is less weapon durability, loss on hit. So I actually like the first buff just a little bit more, so I think I'm going to deny this buff. Pretty sweet. Now I got 2 drakes. That drake's name was Snezzer. So now I got Piper and Snezzer. Now you don't necessarily need to hit all of the resources to collect them. There's some resources that you could just walk up to and pick them up. Those are mostly plant related. For instance, I just picked up some bane berries. Also, when you destroy some resources, it'll pop out a bunch of random resources that were inside of that. What you'll need to do is press, I think, the X button to collect them. So make sure that when you break things open, that you keep spamming X to pick up all of the items. Besides that, it looks like I need to create 2 poppets to entertain my drakes, and then I need to create 2 thatchet beds so that my drakes can get some good sleep. And then lastly, it wants me to build a simple Curio Workshop. I'm pretty sure that's just going to be like an extra utility table, or maybe I'll be able to build some additional items that you can't build straight through the build menu. And let's see, now that I have enough twigs, leaf bundles, and charms, I'm going to go ahead and create 2 thatchet beds. Now, once you're crafting something, your drakes are going to come crafted, and you're going to have to wait until the construction is over. Once again, you create the thatchet beds, so that way you can provide a place to sleep for only 1 night. Again, that's only 1 night. After the night, those beds will be destroyed. I'm not too sure if eventually they allow you to maybe craft some more permanent style beds, but the thatchet beds only last for 1 rest. Besides that, I do need to build 2 poppets. The poppets are going to be what entertains your drakes. And then again, we need to build a crafting table. I'm assuming that's pretty similar to like the crafting table in like Minecraft or 7 Days to Die. Again, it just allows you to, craft additional items. So right now I'm doing some exploring because I need to gather some resources to build the rest of the items that I need to build. Now you got to be careful when breaking open some of the resources because sometimes an enemy will pop out. Now, don't forget, we do have enemies in this game. I do gotta admit, though, these enemies really don't cause too much trouble. They're pretty easy to defeat, at least in the beta. Now, I don't want to jinx myself because I think that eventually in the game that they start to raid your camp. You know, when you're not there trying to gather resources, your camp will start getting attacked. So you'll have to rush back home to defend your drakes. So right now, to create both of the poppets, I need to find some upholstery scrap and some cattail. A cattail plant is typically located next to the water, so I'll have to keep an eye out for those. Here's a car. Let's see if I can get some upholstery scrap off of it. Got a juice box. There we go. Some upholstery scrap. And another juice box. Excellent. Alright, cool. So at this point, I think all we need is those cattails. I'm not too sure how much upholstery scrap I got off of that. Hopefully enough for, creating both of those poppets. Again, the poppets are the things that are going to entertain our drakes, at least at the beginning. I gotta admit, for the art style of the game has some pretty clean graphics. I mean, look at the sky. The sky is beautiful. Sweet. So I just found some cattails, so I should have everything I need to craft these poppets. So now I'm gonna go ahead and head back over to the camp, and I'll build those poppets in my camping area. Meanwhile, I'll go ahead and collect some resources along the way if I happen to run into any. Like, for instance, there's a bunch of trash right here. Going to break that up and collect the resources. And what do you know? I found a grunt in there. The grunt is the first type of enemy that you're introduced to in the game. They're just like these little minions. They're pretty easy to kill. Now, in terms of achievements, guys, I did ask the developer about the achievements because I was curious if this game was going to launch in game preview without achievements, like some of the Microsoft games tend to do. However, they told me the full 1000 gamers score will be available at launch. So it looks like when the game launches in July on the 17th that it will include achievements, 1000 gamers score total, at least at launch. Alright guys, so I went ahead and crafted the poppets. It says poppets immediately add 2 entertainment to your stockpile, but don't generate any additional over time. But at least we're getting some entertainment for our drakes, guys. So that's going to be like the entry level form of entertainment for your drakes. Again, we're like in the tutorial phase of the game, so it's just teaching us how to play. As you can see, the Curio Workshop is locked. So what you need is you need to collect these schematics. They're located across the map. As you collect schematics, you can use those schematics to unlock new items to craft. So I had found a schematic earlier and I used it to be able to craft this Curio Workshop. Now the only thing is that I need to find some more resources to be able to build it. To build the workshop, it looks like I need 5 lumber, which I actually have 22 of right now, so I'm definitely good on the lumber. But I need 10 charms, and right now I only have 5. Now, I did some searching around the island in effort to find some of these charms, but then I remembered the charms are the things that the drakes collect over time, so I just needed to talk to one of my drakes to collect the charms. As you can see, I got 15 from each of them, so that's 30 charms total just for talking to my drakes. So now I have 35 charms and I have enough to create that Curio Workshop. So I'm going to go ahead and craft that crafting table or Curio Workshop, whatever you want to refer to it as. Your drakes will end up building it for you. And what this is going to do is this is going to enable us to create more items. And then next, the game explains the upper right hand side of the HUD. That's where you can see the status of the drake's hunger, thirst, and entertainment. So let's go ahead and check out the Curio Workshop or crafting table. It says, the simple Curio Workshop is used for research and development of new, curious, useful gadgets and knickknacks. Once you've unlocked a recipe here, you can always make more anywhere from your build menu. Okay, interesting. So once we've unlocked the recipe here, we are able to create it from our build menu. Now, first things first, I'm going to create some of these ether wards in effort to be able to cross some of this poison and get to some of the other islands that may have, additional resources or objectives. For instance, right now, my quest is to investigate the top of the lighthouse. And I believe the lighthouse is going to be located on one of the next islands. It's not going to be located on this one. So now that I crafted some of the ether wards, I'll be able to activate it. I believe it was RB to use your ether ward. And I should be able to walk across this poison. So let's see if it works. I have an ether ward and a waypoint right now, but I don't want to set the waypoint because I don't think there's any waypoints on the other side. At least not that I can see. So I'm going to use one of these ether wards, and looks like I got over to the next island. Anytime you go to a new island, it'll show you that you unlocked a new area. This one is called Plum Island, and it says ether will spread and cover an island, disrupting supply networks if not cleared. Fully clear an island to make sure your supply network remains functional. Okay, so basically it looks like the enemy has taken over this island, and we're going to have to clear the island of all of the enemies. Pretty sweet. I ended up finding my first projectile weapon. It looks like a weed blaster or something like that. Now, not only are you going to encounter enemies on these islands, but you'll encounter like these enemy vines, and you'll have to destroy those, and that is going to lower the ether level on that island. And basically, to clear this island, we need to destroy all of those enemy vines and all of the enemies. So we will need to, scan over all of this island just to make sure that we cleared the whole island of all the enemies and ether vines. So real quick, I'm going to go ahead and do a quick lap around this island. It also has some unique resources on it, at least some plants, so I'm going to pick some of those up. I just want to make sure I have a little bit of everything in regards to resources, because who knows what we're going to have to end up crafting next. Man, now I just remembered this game has co-op, so I'm not too sure how that would mix up the game playing this in co-op, or what advantages there are to playing co-op. I can imagine maybe you build your camp a lot faster. It's easier to protect if you're playing online co-op. I wonder if you're able to save your game if you are playing online. Like if I'm playing with some friends, am I able to save my game? And how does that work? Does like the person that originally hosted the game have to be playing for the other players to continue their game? Or, can any player, dive into the game and continue, the world that you guys were working on together? That is one of the things that I'm not too sure about quite yet. But anyway, as you can see, I cleared the island of all of the ether. It said island cleared. And on top of that, I was able to gather a bunch of resources. But before I leave, I want to go ahead and finish up this quest. And again, that quest is to investigate the top of the lighthouse. So I'm going to make my way up here. On the way, I'm going to be gathering all of the resources. Luckily, there's a ton of resources on this island, so I'm going to go ahead and pick all of these up, because last thing I want to do is have to come back to this island because I forgot something. So I'm just going to make sure I clear the way, do it right. Overall, this game seems pretty cool. Seems pretty interesting. I can imagine a lot of kids will have fun with this game. I think that they might need to be, working on the story just a little bit more, because, I don't know, I'm not finding too much purpose while playing this game, to be honest. I mean, it's cool and everything, but I feel like it's just like a big loop. It may have a lot of replay value. I don't want to give too much opinions on it because it is the beta, but pretty cool idea. I do think that they need to fine-tune it just a little bit though. Overall, the beginning of the beta has actually been pretty good. The tutorial is really well made in terms of teaching you everything and going step by step and teaching you how to play the game, which is really important for a game like this, considering if you had no idea what to do or what was going on in the game, you'd probably be really confused. Now, who knows? I mean, I am getting quests right now. I just hope that there is a lot of quests in the game and that the game sort of has like a main story to it, So anyway, I got to the top of the lighthouse and it had me hold X to gaze the area. And I'm getting some Assassin's Creed vibes here for sure. Yep, and what do you know? It says hibernating drakes found on the map. So it did scan the local area and popped up some stuff on our map. So as you can see on the map, those glowing areas are going to be the areas where you can find a hibernating drake. On top of that, we can press RB to go to our bag, which is our inventory. We can see everything that we've collected, that we're holding in our inventory, including, items, resources, weapons, things like that. Actually, let's go ahead and take a look at the different categories in the inventory. So first and foremost, we have the all category, and the melee weapons, and then the ranged weapons category, and then the curios, which I think is like a twist on the word curious. And then we have the crystals category, the crafting materials, and then we have the Drake provisions. And then finally, we have our last category, which is going to be the seeds. Not too sure about seeds. We haven't been introduced to that mechanic quite yet. Let's see. The next tab is going to be the camp tab. So here we can see the status of all of our drakes, their hunger, thirst, boredom, sleep, names, their mechanic, things like that. We can also check our camp status, which shows us some things like condition, the type, output, functioning, things like that. And then we have the tech tree. So this is like our crafting tree. As we gain levels, we'll be able to craft, more advanced items. But first, we have to work on leveling up. Next, we have the log tab, where we can check our active quests, our help messages, our completed quests, and our conversations. Okay, so maybe they really are working on some sort of story mode here, guys. At least we have quests. It shows you your active quests and completed quests, so that's a good sign. As long as the game is a little bit linear in terms of, the story mode and quests, that would be cool. Because ultimately, guys, I just like a game that, you're able to beat. You can beat the story mode or all of the quests and, get the credits to roll. I don't really like playing, like those never-ending games because they're just a little too grindy for me, and ultimately, I just don't have time for a game that's going to suck all the time out of my life. Alright, anyway guys, back to the quests. So it looks like my camp is getting raided for the first time. It says raid attack 3. So I'm guessing that there's 3 different enemies that are attacking my base. I don't think that enemy counted because we're not on my base yet. So we're going to have to make our way back over to the camp and make sure that we kill all the enemies and defend our drakes. Because I don't know, guys, I can't imagine those little vegetable people are too good at defending themselves. Now, I got a few weapons. Maybe I'll try a couple of them. But for now, I got this big old hammer with the Mario Donkey Kong vibes. So I went ahead and fast forwarded the footage just a little bit right there, guys. Just because it was kind of some pointless footage right there. But what I did is I went ahead and activated one of my ether wards in effort to get past the poison, so that way we can get back on the same island as our camp. So I'm rushing back over to the camp in effort to try to stop this raid and save my drakes and everything that I crafted so far. So let's see the damage. Hopefully they didn't destroy everything that I crafted in the beginning. And what do you know? It looks like they did destroy a lot of it. I don't see the poppets. I don't see the beds. Well, I guess the beds only last one night anyway. I think they destroyed my Curio Workshop. Alright, I have 2 of the 3. Okay, so finally a bigger enemy. That is the second type of enemy we've seen so far. Looks like that one is called the Stalker. Still pretty easy to defeat. Alright, it says camp XP and level. Drakes raise your camp level. The higher the level, the more stuff you can build. Find them in the wilderness or raise their age with crystal. Older drakes contribute more camp XP than younger ones. Okay, so looks like we have to find these crystals and give them to the drakes in effort for them to age and, start to give us more camp XP. So I walked over to Snezzer, one of my drakes, and I'm going to give them the crystal that I picked up. It says give the quartz crystal. First, I'm going to go ahead and obtain this gift that the drake has for me. Not too sure what that was. Again, I don't want the buff from Snezzer right now. I'm using the buff from Piper, my first drake. And, okay, so it looks like we need to give not just 1, but 2 crystals to our Drake to upgrade them. Alright, sweet. So, okay, so that was only the first crystal. Okay, I got it now. It looks like I only gave them 1 crystal the first time. So I'm going to give the Drake the 2 crystals, and then that is going to increase the age on the Drake, upgrading them, and ultimately helping me increase my XP on my camp in effort to start upgrading my camp level. Other than that, guys, that's going to wrap up my gameplay footage for Drake's Hollow. Keep in mind that this game is releasing exclusively on Xbox and Windows 10 on July 17th, and it will launch on Xbox Game Pass. As always, I appreciate you guys tuning in. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment and don't forget to like and subscribe.